friends, it's Evelyn here and welcome back to this, my very own little creative corner of the internet. A huge thank you to you all for your continued love and support for this, my very own little YouTube channel. This week, my friends, I'm going to continue doing a little bit of spring cleaning because spring is definitely on its way. Check out the sunshine behind me. It's actually giving a gorgeous reflection of my beautiful rose bush that I have on my windowsill there. I'll take a picture, friends, to show you. But yes, getting back to a little bit of that spring cleaning. This week I'm going to sort and organise all of my sewing patterns, and there are quite a few. And I'm actually coming to you from this introduction, technically from the future, friends, because we also managed to get to some sewing this week as well. And it's a project that I've been meaning to do for quite a few years, yes. And it was actually featured recently in my Sewing Plans 2024 video. But come on, enough chatter. Let's get to sorting some sewing patterns out and also to some sewing. Some charm patterns sewing. Little sneaky peek there, my friends. Come on, let's go. Oh, and if you haven't done so already, please hit that all-important subscribe button because it only takes you a second. Come on, let's get to some sorting and some creating. Just look how pretty she is. And Applejack, of course. So I am really fortunate now to have my own sewing and craft room, occupied quite a lot by the gorgeous lady Luna. Hello, Luna. And as you can see, it's very much finished and organised now, which I'm really happy about. If you want to check out how I created this little craft room, I did do a video showing you how I got organised in this little room, and I'll pop a card above. But today I'm going to concentrate on sorting out my patterns and getting them all into some semblance of an order. Are we keeping you up, Luna? Bless her. Love you, darling. So this unit here is brand new, and this is where the majority of my patterns and all my decorative lights and things and my printer and 2 of my machines are stored, and all my fairy lights and everything are in the bottom there, also in those baskets with some knitting stuff and things like that, and my cherished Gertie books there. Now, in terms of patterns, which is my focus today, I have sorted through all of my purchased patterns and they're in these 2 drawers here. So the bottom drawer here is all of mainly the top 4 pattern companies. You can see I've got quite a few of the reissued vintage ones here, and obviously our gorgeous Gertie. And then I used to use patterns with my mum, so actually a lot of these are from when I used to sew with her, and they're all sort of, the envelopes were all destroyed after using them many times, so they are now in separate envelopes. And then you can see here as well, I've actually got actual vintage patterns here, my own little collection. I'm really excited to make that coat actually. And then all of these ones here are true vintage patterns, all these ones, and I love this one. I absolutely love this one. It's beautiful. Skirt with some pleats in it there. It's really pretty. And then, oh, I like this one as well. This one's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. Button front dress there. It's gorgeous. And then, oh, this is one of my absolute favourite. This is turning into just a pattern video, isn't it? It's one of my absolute favourite patterns. And this was actually 20p from a charity shop. So how good is that? So yes, I have sorted them all into some semblance of order, with the vintage ones at this side and then the ones that I've had to give new envelopes for over the years in front of them, and then my other Big Four Pattern Company ones here. And then as you can see, I actually have one of Gertie's Patreon projects here, all printed out, the PDF all printed out in A4 paper, so that is all ready to be cut out. And actually there's something in here I'm going to get out because I'm having a feeling I might have time this week to finally create what's in here. And if you watched my Sewing Plans 2024 video, it's actually one of the projects I wanted to make this year. It's actually inside this, so we'll get to that in a second. So that on the floor, we can shut this drawer. Also got to be really careful with drawers like this to make sure that you don't overfill them and things get caught in them. And then this drawer is larger patterns that don't fit in smaller envelopes, in A4 envelopes with the picture on the front. There's quite a lot of different ones there. And there's also quite a few of my own me-made patterns stored in envelopes here as well. So this didn't actually take me that long. And I had my video set up to show you the whole process, my friends, and it didn't record. So there we go. So all of my Big Four patterns and quite a few of my self-drafted ones all sorted into envelopes in those two drawers. Now here I have an old Lush box. So this was one of their 12 days of Christmas, I believe, or maybe a bubble bomb, bath bomb extravaganza in there possibly, but now I use it to store my AO sized patterns, and they all smell incredible because they live in a Lush box. So they're all in there, which is great because it's just the right size to fit those in. So seems like a lot of patterns. We're not finished yet, my friends. No, not yet. So the last of my patterns are over here on my bookshelf. So as you can see, quite a few of my obsessions showing here. The lovely Marilyn, Harry Potter, knitting books, even more Marilyn, pattern drafting books, and ancient Egypt. So yes, quite a few of my obsessions. And then a vintage style microphone there as well, because I'm also obsessed with singing as a vocalist. So, oh, and Star Wars. So yes, I'm just a geek really. So the remaining patterns, my friends, are in these lever arch folders here, which you can see are lovingly labelled. So these have plastic wallets inside them like this, and then the projects are labelled. Actually, you're getting a sneak peek here as well about some spring sewing and fitting that's coming to the channel really soon. So there we go. So all my patterns are now lovingly stored, and I'm really happy with how tidy this room is. So we can get back to that envelope that I found with a project in that I think, let's get to some sewing, friends. I've got a very, very sleepy Luna here. Bless her. So here is that envelope. But what's inside, I hear you ask, my friends. So as you can see, it's from my friends at Minerva, and this was actually a fabric that I purchased before I became a brand ambassador. So yes, my love for Minerva is a love that has lasted a very, very long time, because yeah, I just absolutely adore that company, and I love the service, and they're just, yes, can't say enough good things about them. So what's in here, I hear you ask. Let's have a look. So this is a project that was listed in my Sewing Plans 2024 video, and actually it is the Charm Patterns Rita blouse. And I can't remember if I showed you this in the actual video, but the pieces are actually all cut out. They're all cut out. And inside this, which is a great way to sort your projects as well, especially if, like me, with being on the spectrum and having ADHD, I tend to start quite a few projects and then they get all mixed up. So One top tip that I've got here, my friends, is grab an envelope or a plastic wallet and put each of your projects in so they don't all get all confused. And that's exactly what I've done here. So I've got the instructions, I've got all my cut out pattern pieces, and then I've got the required zip and the required elastic too, which is making it really easy for me to embark on this little sewing project this week, as well as sorting out all of those patterns. So without further ado, my friends, I'm going to get to fitting a Rita blouse. Finally. It's not like I haven't had this pattern for years, and I've even had this cut out for, I think it has to be 2 years. Oh my goodness, that's terrible. Let's make it into a top rather than just pieces of fabric, my friends. Okay, my friends, so here are my Rita blouse pieces cut out, and here are my instructions. A little note, friends, this is actually the older version of the Rita blouse pattern by the wonderful Gertie of Charm Patterns. She has actually re-released the Rita blouse recently, and it's in an extended size range, and it goes up to a cup size H, whereas this older version is up to a DD. So definitely check the new version of that pattern out. I have the old version because I actually purchased this back in 2018. That's how long I've had this pattern for. So printed out my instructions. It's a really easy project here as well. There's actually only 8 pages, so wonderful, nice easy project. And you'll see, my friends, that rather than the usual printed out pattern pieces, I've got them traced this time, and that's because it just so happens that this time I have my Rita blouse printed out on an A0 pattern sheet, which is absolutely huge. So this time, rather than cut out the pieces, I have retained all the sizes on the A0 sheet, and instead I've traced the size, which I have gone for a size 4 in the DD cup size range. A note on the cup sizes as well, my friends. Although they are listed B, C, D, DD and upwards in the new pattern, don't just assume and cut your usual bra cup size, because this is actually sized in Charm Patterns cup sizes. So be sure to check out the instructions for the measurements and the finished measurements as well on the garment before you choose a size. Without further ado, I'm going to start constructing this top, beginning with the lower bodice. Let's go. So my friends, finally sewing a Rita blouse, and the first step was to join the 2 lower side fronts, piece 4, to the lower centre front, piece 3, sewing all of these pieces from the bottom up to help avoid distorting the grain on the pieces. And I'm using a standard straight stitch throughout the project rather than a basting stitch, as the general consensus on this particular pattern is that it's on the roomy side, which leads to a top tip here, my friends. Be sure to check out social media when creating a purchased pattern, as there are often sew and tell groups and sew-alongs too. The process is then repeated for the lower bodice back, joining the side backs, piece 6, to the centre back, piece 5. And then the lower bodice front and back are joined along the right side seam. Can you spot an error here, friends? Then onto the upper bodice, beginning by stitching gathering stitches between the notches on both the front and back pieces, using a basting stitch at 1/4 inch and 1/2 inch. Then sewing the front and back upper bodice pieces together along that side seam. To allow me to have a look at the fit of the bodice before I go on and attach the sleeves, I hand tacked the bodice upper to the bodice lower, before tacking in a zip to allow me to have a look at how this Rita blouse is fitting. Okay, friends, so this is how my Rita is currently fitting, and it doesn't have the sleeves attached yet, just so I can check the fit. So obviously this will be sort of here. I am really liking the fit across the bust and on the hips. Now, I do tend to wear things quite close fitted, but I'm aware that this is made of cotton and it is supposed to have some ease. Hello, Luna. Bless her. But I'm actually really pleased with how this is fitting, and because I've only tacked the zip in, it is going to be a little bit tighter in that zip, so I don't really want to take anything else out of that. I'm quite happy with how it's fitting on the bust. Yes, it's actually incredibly flattering as well, so I don't think I'm actually going to need to make any adjustments. Shock horror, how amazing is that? To be honest though, my friends, I don't normally need to make any adjustments on charm patterns. Gertie sizing is pretty great for me, so I'm not surprised at all. And actually, I can see having so many of these in my wardrobe. Right, so the next thing I need to do, my friends, is to take that tacked in zip out, because it's not actually put in as it should be. And can you see the error? Yes, I put the zip in the wrong side. I did up the left side and not the right side. However, I'm not going to change that. It doesn't really make a difference to me wearing the garment. It doesn't make a difference to its construction. I've just done the wrong side because I can't actually tell my left from my right. It's one of the little quirks that I've got from my different things, but you know, you win some, you lose some. I'm actually really, really happy with the fit, and I actually really like it with my orgy pants here, so yes. And obviously it's supposed to be up at the back as well, but obviously we've got no sleeves on at the moment, but I'm really, really happy with the fit. So I'm going to take that zip out, which will allow me to properly machine stitch the upper bodice to the lower bodice. Then it's time to put the sleeves on and put the zip in properly. So let's go. Hey, Leanie. Now that I'm happy with the fit of the bodice, the under bust can be stitched properly on the machine and the zip inserted properly too. Then it's time to construct those sleeves, beginning with the underarm seams. Straying slightly from the instructions, I'm going to create the casings for the sleeve elastic now, before the sleeves are attached to the bodice, as I find this much more manageable. Following the directions, I start with a line of guide stitching 1/4 of an inch from the edge, which is then folded to the inside of the sleeve and pressed in place, before a further 3/8 of an inch is pressed to the inside and then top stitched, leaving a small gap for the elastic to be threaded through. And that elastic is then inserted to create those really cute gathered sleeves for this peasant style top. Those sleeves are then inserted, and now it's time to sort the neckline elastic. Repeating the 1/4 inch guide stitching before pressing it in place to the inside of the blouse. Then pressing that second fold to create the casing. Before sewing up the casings finally, it's a good idea to use safety pins to hold the elastic in place before you try your top on to check the elastic sizing. And then all that's left is to hem the top. It's finally reveal time, my friends. I've finally made a Rita blouse. Well, my friends, what can I say? I am in love with this Rita blouse. My only regret? Yes, it's that I sat on this project for so long. A quick project once fitted, my friends. This blouse is also a really frugal one, taking less than a yard of fabric. And I can already see a whole collection of these materialising into my me-made wardrobe. Because Gertie has also recently extended the size range in the Rita blouse, it's now even more accessible to everyone, my friends. So be sure to give this pattern a check. A very successful make and a successful tidy mission too. But until next week, my friends, please remember to hit that all-important subscribe button for me, and I'll see you next Friday. Take care, friends. Bye.